The Stonewall riot was one of the catalysts for LGBT rights in the English-speaking world, and it wasn't peaceful. Police turned up at the Stonewall Inn in New York and started systematically rounding up and sexually assaulting trans and gay people. So they
What? What? The police show up and sexually assault them? What is that, part of the punishment or something? Like, what happened? How'd that happen?
See, that was the red flag for me. I heard them like, what? That doesn't make it. What are you talking about?
The police showed up and sexually assaulted everyone.
Yeah,
Huh.
that's what we call lying or systemic dishonesty here at the Sitch Adam show.
All right, everyone, pants around your ankles.
The police are here. Everyone, drop
We're
the drawer.
here. We're here to arrest you.
But I'll go into the background to that when she finishes her
good.
Stonewall riot.
defended themselves. They threw loose change and then bricks at the police. I'm glad they did that. My life is almost certainly better as a result. And yet, I have political goals now, things that would make my life better again, and I'm not using those kinds of tactics to pursue them. Now,
Okay, so
Yeah, what are the political goals that would make the... I don't... Does she go into that?
Well, yeah, sort of. Not really. You'll see.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so I didn't know anything about the Stonewall riots. I'd heard them, LGBT people, like activists, mention them all the time. This is actually a very interesting situation because we talked about this a couple streams ago about how when there is a gap in institutions and in law, the mafia will very often fill it and provide the service that people want. And so basically, let's see, let me bring up my tab on this. So basically in the 60s, and it's kind of crazy, in the late 60s, not only was it was illegal to dress in drag, it was illegal for women to like not wear, they had to wear like a certain amount of female clothes, which is kind of fucking insane. Like a woman couldn't legally dress up into like a man or something. It was very crazy. And public displays of affection, such as like hand holding and kissing among gay individuals was also outlawed, which is fucking crazy. And serving alcohol to gay people in gay bars was also made illegal. And so all this crazy shit that obviously I disagree with is going on. And so the mafia comes in and they fill the gap by saying, oh, we're going to
sell
buy
all
out
the alcohol you want the gay people.
Right,
want.
exactly. The mafia says, "Oh, okay, you can't legally buy alcohol. Well, here we're gonna buy this bar. We're gonna transform it into a gay bar where you can have all the alcohol that you want, unregistered, unlicensed alcohol you want."
Yeah,
and it was called the Stonewall Inn. And it's funny because since the mafia was running it, like it was a fucking shithole. They didn't have running water. The toilets were always like causing them problems.
Yeah,
there wasn't really like a fire exit. It was a horrible fucking problem. But there was not a lot of alternatives for gay people who want to go to gay bars and get wasted or whatever. And so they would have the police would pretty continually, like once a month, go to this Stonewall Inn and they would raid the place. And they would, and since it was the mafia, very often the mafia was paying the police under the table to tell them when they were going to raid the place. So they had this system set up. So when the police were going to come, they would like try to hide all the booze, and people in drag would try to hide in like back rooms or change their clothes or something so they wouldn't be arrested. And there's like this whole operation going on. So basically one day there's an unannounced police raid that the mafia doesn't know about. And they start, arresting people, which they've done in the past. And part of the procedure for this is that since it was illegal to wear drag at this time period, they would have cops who had to like check if, the person was in drag or not, was like a woman or a man or whatever. Okay. So they would bring female cops and male cops to like,
penis
check.
inspection day.
Do penis inspection
real.
day, yes.
Holy
to do penis
shit.
inspection day to make the see, which is, this is all ludicrous, but it's obviously fucking insane. But so this line that Abigail gives about like the police came and they were sexually assaulting people. So even though this had happened in the past, apparently there was a lesbian there who
Mhm.
was being, inspected by a female cop to see if she was a man or a woman, and she claimed the pat down was sexual assault or something,
Mhm.
because the female officer is patting her down to see if she's got a vagina or a dick,
Mhm.
essentially. Okay. And so they start arresting, and this is like a bumbled operation by the police, because they normally, when this would happen, they would arrest people who, for whatever reason, and they'd have the police cars or vans already there, so they just take them into the vans and drive away, and then the bar would basically resume business. But there was some logistical problem, so they started arresting people, and the vans weren't there.
Mhm.
And so they had all these people like in handcuffs, and they had hundreds of people that were at this bar kind of just milling around outside.
Mhm.
And it's like, obviously, we start to see where this goes. The situation starts to get more
Mhm.
tense. More and more people from the neighborhood and the area start standing around. They start yelling at the cops. Someone who's being arrested starts to say, "Why are you letting them arrest us? You should fight them." So people start throwing shit at the cops who are arresting these people.
Wow.
And then this was actually kind of described kind of hilariously. Apparently, there was a bunch of gay men, some in drag, who started doing a can line
No way. Are
to
they in
protest
handcuffs?
well, no, not in handcuffs, to like protest the cops. And then the cops show up. More and more cops keep showing up, and apparently they started attacking the gay people in the can line with like nightsticks. Like,
Oh, shit.
it's some witness described like this is the most surreal situation, because you have the cops like trying to like move through this line of like beating up gay protesters doing the can, and then like right next to them you have all these guys doing the fucking can. It's like a totally surreal. This is like a scene from a David Lynch movie or something. And so, but anyway, the point is, all these laws obviously were unjust and terrible, and the police were completely overreacting, I would argue, in the law. But it's like, I don't know. This seemed to be like, this event that happened did bring awareness to like how fucked up a lot of these anti-LGBT laws were. But I feel like a lot of people, LGBT activists, act like there was some fucking massacre at like Stonewall.
Right.
like hundreds of gay people
Did
were
anyone
just
die?
murdered in the streets.
Huh.
I don't think so.
Okay. No one died in the can line?
No one died in the can line. No,
I
I
mean,
don't think
obviously this
anyone
is
died.
I just started looking up pictures of can dances. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, people were injured, obviously, because the police were like beating people up, but I'm
Right.
pretty sure nobody died. So,
All right.
so that's your Stonewall riot story. That was how the police were just. Oh, and so, and I don't know, and I just have a big problem with her framing. Not only is she saying the police, because the way she frames it, and this is why it's stupid, because like obviously the police are in the wrong. Well, the police maybe are not in the wrong, but like the laws are in the wrong, right? And the police are in the wrong for giving a fuck to enforce this shit anyway, in the first place. But I think you could tell the story of it truthfully. You don't have to embellish it. You don't have to say the police were sexually assaulting LGBT people and they started defending themselves. That's not really an accurate depiction of the story. And the story is bad enough that you can just explain it without adding shit to it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is dishonesty, though.
You might say, Abigail, that's because you're a hypocrite and a coward, and you'd rather lie around in a hammock eating French cheese than get off your ass and actually try and do something. And I'd say, well,
True.
I don't think that's entirely fair. It's not a hammock, it's a divan. But this is Philosophy Tube. And on this show, we know that the interesting intellectual and emotional stuff comes out when people try to defend the tensions in what they think. So, why do so many people have this discomfort, almost hypocrisy around violence?
So do you think, so she set up this question, which is, am I, Philosophy Tube, a big fat hypocrite for sitting around absorbing Patreon money to dress up in costumes?
Right. Not get out there and punch people in the face.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think she's going to adequately address?
Of course not. I mean, there are jobs where working in security, working as a police officer, working in the military, where, you're going to get beat up for a living. So you're going to have to pry people off of each other. You're going to put yourself at bodily risk. Yeah. It's just glorious coming from her talking about this kind of stuff. Yeah.
It seems very egotistical to me that even in this video that's, I would say, is stochastic terrorism and is a call for violence, it still has to be like framed in this like, well, why don't I do the violence? It comes across as like, listen, I'm the thought leader. I'm going to sit up here on my devoir. I'm going to tell you guys what to do. You guys are the labor. I'm the boss. Wait, no, I don't want to say that. I'm a communist. Okay. You guys are the direct actors. I am the thought leader. That sounds better, right? I'm the thought leader. I'm bringing awareness to the issue.
Yeah. Yeah. It is hypocritical, but anyway, self-awareness is off in this video for her.